Yes, everybody, how are you doing? I'm going to be talking this month about stress and the tools that we can use to just de-escalate, if not completely get rid of and fix the stresses that we've got in our life. There is no magic fix, and I know that because I have a lot of stresses. I'm going to share those with you because that will make you more likely to listen to the entirety of this video. Going through divorce, separation is obviously really difficult and unpleasant. And then you've got the moving of the home and all the stresses that come with that. So you've got some colour on the wall behind me, so I must be getting somewhere. And ironically, I can say that Wickes has been a big part of the progress that I have made. There is still many things to do. But yeah, look, stress is something that affects us all. I think some of us deal with stress better than others. I think there are types of stress that will trigger us in different ways to others. So let's have a little deep dive on the tools that we can use, things that have been helping me lately. I do have other things I'm stressed about, but no one wants to hear about my stresses. So here are a few things that might help you feel a bit better. So I think being kind to ourselves is really important when we've got a problem. What we can do is take this problem, we can create 10 more by spiraling, catastrophizing, by being really negative and letting our thoughts run away with themselves. If you can't be positive, be neutral. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we find ourselves being really negative and positive just seems completely unattainable. Slide it across into that middle ground, that neutral territory, which is just means that we're not hammering and lambasting ourselves for being a failure, for being a flop, for messing everything up. But can we just be a little bit neutral and just say, I've got a little bit of an issue going on and I need to focus on how I can overcome it whilst being able to carry on with everything else. So neutrality instead of being really hard on yourself. Stress doesn't have to derail all of the good habits that you are in, okay? So unless we give it the power to, there are always going to be a mixture of good or bad things happening in our lives at any one time. And that's the natural order of things. So don't forget the basics. Eat well, sleep, get enough sleep, exercise, even if it's not necessarily going to the gym, but just walking for 10 minutes and getting some fresh air in nature. These things are going to keep you on track. So don't dismiss the basics, keep with them. I also think it's really important to show up, not go missing in denial or avoidance. I think you have to front up to finding what the source of the stress actually is, because sometimes we can feel stressed and not actually know the reason, or sometimes there's so many things going on that would make us stressed that it's hard to see the wood for the trees. A way that we can actually pinpoint the source of our stress is to have a conversation. I'm always going to recommend that you talk. So if you don't have the individual that's going to listen to you without judgment or sharing opinions and is willing to listen to you for as long as it takes, then journal it. Okay, so once you've written everything, all your thoughts, concerns, and it all just starts flowing out of you, usually you'll find out exactly what the source is and you'll be able to put a plan in place as to how you're going to approach the problem. Again, we don't necessarily at this point need to know what the solution is, but at least know, how am I going to turn up and approach what the source of the issue actually is. Before we decide how we're going to go about actually finding or creating a solution, what would be really good is for us to do it our way. And by that, I mean find the 3 values that you hold really dear, and make sure that those values are absolutely inherent when it comes to the approach that you're going to take to solving this solution. That way, it means that you're using all of the values that are important to you and not overreacting, underreacting, reacting in a way that is going to get you barred from somewhere or from someone's life. And make sure that you've been a little bit more considered and measured, and your values will always keep you to that. Absolutely have a break if you find that your mind is going 10 to the dozen. When do we ever make good decisions when we are stressed to the eyeballs and we're frantic and we're literally running at a pace that is not conducive to good conversation or to approaching something in a way that is going to elicit the sort of response that we'll need from somebody to be able to collaborate on whatever that solution needs to be. So my advice would also be to slow down, to not necessarily react in the moment and to come back to it come back to that communication or that action when you feel like you've really considered what the best course of action is to achieve, this is always really important, the outcome that you want. You play a big part in that, so make sure you slow down. So stress can very often come from a sense of lack. We might be stuck in a position where we're looking to receive first before we can come forward and actually offer ourselves towards finding a solution. The problem with that is that so might the other person, or so might the employer, or again, whatever the situation is that you're stressed about. It's a controversial one, this, and it's the last thing we think about, I guarantee. But I tell you what, I've used it in the past and it works massively. So when you feel like your stress is because of lack, the thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is to actually give. Instead of thinking, right, this is how I want to receive, I'm actually going to go the opposite and I'm going to give. What can I give either to that person or that situation? What can I communicate so that I offer a little bit of myself, whether that's a little bit of validation, a little bit of understanding, just some kind words. And will that then kickstart me receiving what it is that I feel I need in order to get rid of this stress? Try it. Does it apply to your situation? And if so, have a go. What have you got to lose? Another important area is to be able to look at ourselves and say, is there any responsibility that I can take? It's not entirely unhuman for us to create our own suffering, but then point a finger of blame in everybody else's direction without actually looking at ourselves. So I want you to ask yourself a very simple question. Did I contribute to this? And if so, can I communicate that? Will that help? And also, is there anything that I can change in order to create the outcome that I'm actually looking for? I think many of our stresses come from miscommunication generally, whether that's a miscommunication with our words or actually of our feelings and the fact that we need support. I think courage is really important in terms of showing the courage to be vulnerable. First and foremost, people aren't going to know that you need help or support, or that you're looking to communicate how stressed you feel unless you actually are responsible for that yourself. So courage is definitely what you're going to need a little bit of to be able to do that. But the minute you do, you'll feel lighter, and it means that people don't have to be telepathic or make like amazing assumptions to actually be able to see on the outside, on the surface, what's actually going on the inside. It's very difficult for us to tell on the surface, isn't it? We're not mind readers, so let's not expect other people to be mind readers as well. Be brave and communicate, because miscommunication is very much a vital and main ingredient of many of the stresses that we feel. And this is a really obvious one, but just cut out the triggers, okay? So whether that's alcohol, drugs, whether that's social media, whether that's toxic individuals, toxic relationships, if you can't cut them out entirely, at least cut them down, because these things, or these people, or these vices are the things that are going to be taking you towards the stresses that you're experiencing, whereas the opposites of those, i.e. a healthy lifestyle, or at least, not touching the bad stuff, managing our time on social media, and also just managing our time around certain people, those things are going to reduce our stress. So I hope you find some of those tools useful. I guarantee that one or two of them at least will resonate with you, and you'll be like, yeah, actually, I wasn't really thinking in that direction. So I'd love to hear from you. I'm reachable on social media, obviously, and if you have any questions outside of the things that I've asked or said, then I'd love to hear it. But aside from that, really, look, as I say, I've got all the stress in the world at times. Everybody goes through it, and it's not something that you just deal with once a month, is it? There's always low-level stuff. So look, these things will help you to maybe make some of the things that you're experiencing slightly easier. But for me, the basics such as meditation, if you can't meditate, then at least just be still every now and again. Give your mind a rest, give your body a rest. Make sure you get your sleep. Make sure you exercise in whatever form that is, because these things are always going to keep you on a path. As much as the stresses are trying to sort of pull you off of that path, those are the things that actually counterbalance it. So that we control. I'll always advocate for controlling the controllables. So I hope you get on well with those things, and I look forward to bringing you another one of these videos on a different subject next month. Take care, everyone.